remains as expected and nothing new there. I do have a few trending items to discuss with everyone this morning. And the first one is attachments, using the attachment function when doing a vendor notification. So we've had a couple of questions come through on this, and what I really wanted to point out is that when you are going through and getting ready to send a solicitation, and you have the option to notify the vendor, this is on the informal quote off of the rec, and it shows you that email, and there's a box at the bottom that says attachments. The direction is not to use that attachment functionality. So we are working with our vendor to determine why that functionality is not working, but at this time, the functionality is there, showing that you would have the ability to attach a document there. Just don't use that. It's not saving the document and making it a part of the procurement file. It's also not sending that attachment. So any attachments that you want to add to your procurement, just do it on the attachments tab. That functionality works perfectly. We've had no issues with that functionality whatsoever. So the only place to locate attachments should be on that attachments tab. So don't use the attachments on the vendor notification. The other thing that I wanted to remind everyone about, and I know we've talked about this before, but the hide bid holder list. So we are still seeing in a number of instances that agencies are not hiding their bid holder list. And let me take you out real quick. So let me take you out into our production site, and where this becomes viewable to anyone is from the home page. If you go into the open bid section, you'll see here that the bid holder list in quite a number of instances is being publicly displayed. Now there may very well be an agency determination that you're going to make that public. I don't know that we have specific guidance that says you absolutely must not, but there, certainly, it certainly is a decision that should be well considered. If your agency is making a determination to publish the bid holder list, it's what it essentially will do is allow anyone to go out and see on that open bid who has acknowledged the bid. So in this particular case, we're looking at an instance where one vendor has acknowledged the bid. In other cases, it will display multiple vendors having acknowledged the bid. So I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. If this is a decision that you're making, make sure that it's a conscious choice, that you know why you're making that decision, and that it's not simply an oversight, that you're failing to check the box. So please be aware, hiding the bid holder list, should be, like I said, a determination made by the agency, and if you do not intend to display that, make sure that you are checking that. Okay. Open again. The other thing that I wanted to go through, we've received some questions about the bid tabulation. It's not something that we've discussed on one of our sessions in detail before. I don't know how much everyone is aware or has looked at this functionality, and so I just wanted to share it with everyone today and see if anyone had any questions about that. So let me go out here, back to where we were. Go back to the home page again. So this is basically information available on the home page. No one has to be registered to be able to access this information. And where you can publicly find the bid tabulation, anyone can find it, is out here in this contract and bid search. And so that you go out here and you look for a bid, and I'm just going to click find it, so it pulls out everything that we have out there. Okay. And what you're looking for when the bid tab will become publicly available is when a vendor has been selected for award. So here is a procurement where the vendor has been selected for award. If you click on that bid, it displays the general information, and at the bottom is where anyone can click and go out and take a look at the bid tab. When you get out to the bid tab, what the public will be able to see is who all bid. In this particular case, it looks like there is a single bidder that bid. So that's the quotes that were received, and then moving across the tab, the bid tab contains the pricing information that was submitted by that particular bidder. If there were any header questions that were asked, those answers would be listed here. If there are subcontractors that are listed in BidBuy, that would be listed here. We don't use the scoring tab or the scoring functionality, so that's always going to display nothing, but it will be there. And then on the summary, you will see the summary of the award information. So just wanted to share that. So if you do receive any questions, here's another one. So same thing. There's been a vendor awarded and listed, and the bid tab is open. This is another single quote that was received. You see the summary information, and this one doesn't have. Oh, hold on. This one actually doesn't display the various tabs. Although I think I was able to go there a little bit further. It just has the summary information available on this one, which I'm not sure. And this may have been an informal quote. That might be why it's a little less detailed. But you'll see even down in this particular case, it does show the pricing information that was submitted. So that is the informal quote, what the bid tabulation looks like there. So just thought that it might be helpful for everyone to take a look at it. If you've not looked at that before, what the public can see on the bid tabulation, that is what's available to them, and you can go out and take a look at any of that. Okay. Other than that, continue to follow our end user support process. I have some updates today as it relates to any questions related to ERP. But do want to emphasize, continue, regardless of who you're reaching out to for support, to include everyone in the process so everyone gets the same answers. So the trainer, the APO, the SPO, when contacting the state user help desk, please make sure that you're copying everyone. And oftentimes, if you're copying, especially your trainer, your APO, or your SPO, you can get a quicker answer because one of those other people may very well have the answer you're looking for before you reach our desk. And agency readiness, I know we're now all live, so we're really getting through the readiness stage, but you still have continued opportunities to continue to look at your business processes and streamline them and revise them as you're going live, as you're learning more about your interface. I know that there's still some approval paths that are being worked through and agency contracts still some being input and established, doing the review of that, staff training ongoing, as well as the ever-present need to make sure that your registrations and deactivations are up to date in BidBuy. So all of that continues to be ongoing. All of those are things that you should continue to think about. I have some updates here on your help. So again, reiterating, when you're reaching out for help, pick one location so that you don't have multiple help desks working on the same thing at the same time. And the state user and the vendor help information remains the same. However, there is an ERP update. In our last slide, I had given you the email address to reach out, the general statewide ERP email address. However, the better option, and they're asking that you not use the email, but to use one of these options. So the first two, the Springfield and Chicago numbers, are the Do It Standard Help Desk. For any general questions, they want you for ERP to reach out to one of those two phone numbers. For Cluster 2, however, just going live in ERP, we've been provided with this Go Live phone number. Oops, let me get back. To use this telephone number and this extension number. So Cluster 2 only, reaching out for ERP assistance, this phone number, this extension number. But these websites all still remain the same, so nothing new there. Just those telephone numbers are new. And same thing on resources, that all remains the same. Location of your alternative forms, if you need alternative forms because you're struggling with a form in BidBuy, here's where you go to get them, and they really should be only a short-term fix. So if you're having any difficulties with our forms, let us know, and we should be able to resolve that for you pretty quickly. Upcoming training events. So right now, there is a legacy contract issue resolution help session, not really a training, going on at the Stratton building. You should have received an invite and information about attending that. So we have experts on site to assist with that. Not really a training, but just an activity that's ongoing here right now for you to bring specific issues that you're encountering and sit down with someone who can walk you through that ERP interface activity. Other training that we have upcoming, SAP Orgs releasing in BidBuy. That session should be scheduled within the next couple of weeks. Small purchase updates, those are ongoing throughout the month of July, and you should already have an invite for that. And then the BEP process training is to be scheduled. So we expect to schedule that as quickly as we can. So those are the training activities that are upcoming, and we will send you invites as they become scheduled. The other thing that's not listed on here, let me go back, and should have been listed on here, is our August Train the Trainer program. So we have our Train the Trainer scheduled in August. Invites went out to each agency several weeks ago, and a reminder also went out today. We are closing out registration, so we're getting to the end of the registration period. Samantha, are there any classroom seats left at all?
We'll be following the priority level on we do have enough requests to fill the classroom at this point, but we will be following our priority level that we outlined in the original email if we receive additional requests after today.
Okay, great. So we are putting together that final list of the classroom seats, and as Samantha explained, there was a priority list that explains who gets classroom seats first. The class is going to be full, there's no doubt about that. Whether or not there's any seats available is yet to be determined. So if your agency does not have a BidBuy trainer who has been through the Train the Trainer program and is a formal member of our training group, please do make sure that you have selected someone and have sent in that registration. But in addition to that, and again, this is specifically for trainers, so it's not just a general open registration. If you have others at your agency, you already have a couple of good trainers, but you want a backup trainer, you want to add to your trainers at your agency, you can send those registrations in too, and we have the whole program will be broadcast via a WebEx. So other trainers will be given the information on how to attend via WebEx. So if you haven't done it, and I think we've gotten a pretty solid response from most agencies out there, but just a reminder, if you have any agencies or are an agency that doesn't have a trainer or needs to get registered, that registration is closing soon. Okay, so that is everything that I had. It looks like we did have a couple of questions that came in. So someone has a question, and I think the question was related to when I was talking about the bid holder list. And this is a kind of very specific, but someone was saying that they chose to publish the bid holder list, I think, this is what it says, you know, to serve as a notice to let vendors know that we are contracting with a state use vendor. Is that incorrect? And the answer to that would be, yes, that is incorrect. So the method that we use in BidBuy to publish a notice of award, whether that notice of award goes to a state use vendor or any vendor, is through the notice of award functionality. And all of those instructions are contained within the IFB or RFP job aids and guides. So you would publish for a state use contract a standard notice of award. You would not do that through showing the bid holder list. And another one, someone says, it's often helpful to view previously issued solicitations at other agencies. Can you illustrate how we can research other agencies' solicitation documents which have already been completed? So that's a good question, and let's go out and take a look. If you were to do it, and you know this is really good timing, if you were to look at, I think from the public available search, select contracts. I don't actually know specifically the answer, so as I'm looking at the same time that you're looking, if I look at an existing contract, any agency attachments that are publicly shown would be viewable. So I did that very quickly. Let me go back and start over. So looking for a contract that's already out there, solicitation has been completed, there's been an award, and the contract is in existence. From the home page, you would go to the contract and bid search. You would select contract. You would click find it. And you could use any of the search criteria. So if you're looking for a specific type of contract, or you know a specific agency that has the kinds of contracts that you like to take a look at, you can input any criteria that you want to use here for searching purposes. And once you identify a contract that you think might be helpful to you, you can go out and take a look at whatever information is publicly available, especially what information I think is in the attachments, and it may be helpful. And that will then also give you contact information. So if you look at this and you say, oh yeah, this is perfect, I really am interested in looking at the actual solicitation, but it's no longer viewable and you can't see it, go out and reach out to whoever the purchaser is and see if you can obtain a copy of that. But it would be done through that search function from the home page, you know, searching around for contracts that may be helpful to you. We have a question about whether or not there is a way to print all of the items shown on the Items tab of a particular master contract in BidBuy. The answer is yes and no, and a little more no than yes. So on the no side of things, you cannot directly, from being logged in and looking at a particular, the Items tab, do a straight print. What functionality, though, that we do have available is the ability to print from ad hoc reporting. So what I'd like to be able to bring back to the group, and I think this is needed information, is some instructions on how to run a specific report. And so this is a master contract in BidBuy, and you're just wanting to print out what are, because some of those master contracts are long, right? Hundreds of line items. And it's a lot easier if you can just print it out and take a look at it. So that's a really good question, and we will bring that back to you with some instructions on how to run a report on line items available on a specific contract. And there was one other question there that was about that I'm not sure if I answered the question correctly. So someone is talking about the bid for a state use contract. If I didn't answer your question, can you please send your question through again, or let me know if you want to raise your hand, because it looks like I may not have answered your question. If I didn't, I'm not clear on what that question is. So if you want to resend that, that would be appreciated. Okay, I don't see any other questions at this time, so I am going to go ahead and put everyone on hold for about a minute or so and see if we have any last questions come through.
No, this thing here? No, that's if you want to call in. No, right? You have to click on that. Oh, shit, no. I already logged out. Oh, no, she couldn't get in either. So, we're relying on you. I wouldn't do that. I just lost my audio.
Okay, we just ended our session. I don't see, I do see another question or two. So let me go ahead and see what that question is. A really good question. So someone asked, do we have any detail?
Lisa's listening?
There is someone out there who is Susie. It's Susie. It sounds like Susie is not on mute. Susie, if you could mute your phone, that would be appreciated. Great. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Oh, you're back. Sounds like you're muted. Now you're muted again. Okay, good. Thank you. We have a question. Do you have any more detail on the print PO acceptance at the comptrollers? And yes, we do. As we understand it, the comptroller has come to full agreement with us. So the print purchase order has been accepted by the comptroller. Where we're at right now with getting that implemented with full instructions is working with our vendor to upload and make any revisions to that PO document, and we will be rolling it out shortly. So yes, thank you for asking that. It has been accepted. Well, shit, lava. Okay, so a couple more questions came in. Someone said, can the state user staff use reply all when answering our questions? Often the response is only to the sender. Generally speaking, when I reply or we reply to a question, we're just doing it verbally. So we're not sending a written response out. We just give you our response verbally. If we ever do give a written response, we will try and send it out to all. And there was some clarification that maybe this comment was specifically about our state user inbox and using the reply all. That is definitely our instruction to our staff. So we'll reinforce that if anyone is on the state user help desk and they're not hitting reply all, to do so. And then someone else said, in terms of being able to search and look for solicitation documents, if you also look and search on the bids and look specifically for the bids, you will be able to select the type code IFB RFP and pull up some of those old solicitation documents, those prior solicitation documents. So either direction, looking at the contract or doing that same search and specifically using the bid as the option and entering your criteria will help you to locate those template documents. So thank you for clarifying that. Bids or contracts, whichever is most helpful to you. Okay, so I am going to put everyone on hold for just one more minute and see if we get any more questions, and if not, we will end our session. So hold on just a minute for more questions. Okay, we do not have any other questions today. We will bring back some information on printing the lists of items off of a master at an upcoming session. And in the meantime, if you have anything else that comes up, use the appropriate help desk to find your answers. So thank you very much for attending, and we'll see you again next week.